Welcome back, everyone. As an aerospace industrial strategy expert, I spend a ton of my time looking at how incredibly visionary ideas either take flight or, well, crash headfirst into the harsh realities of the market. Today, we're going to dissect a really fascinating but honestly sobering case study, the financial collapse of Aeralis. This was a UK-based aircraft developer with a totally revolutionary concept for military aviation. But on May 15th, 2026, they completely shocked the industry by entering administration. So in today's Explainer, we're going to break down exactly what went wrong. We'll look at their industrial strategy, that complex supply chain, and the absolute crushing financial pressures that brought the whole thing down. Right off the bat, we need to zero in on the primary symptoms of this crisis. David Buchler and Joanne Milner, who are the joint administrators handling the collapse, basically pointed to two massive fatal headwinds. First, a sustained pressure on cash flow caused by delays in the UK defense investment plan. And second, crucially, geopolitical factors affecting sources of funding. Now, I gotta tell you, it is incredibly rare to see geopolitical factors cited so explicitly in a corporate administration announcement like this. It tells us right away that this wasn't just some engineering failure, It was a failure of timing, politics, and capital structure. Okay, let's dive into this. Think of this as a post-mortem case study of an industrial failure. We're going to start with that administration announcement, then we'll unpack their modular vision, check out their strategic marketing pivot, and examine the serious friction in their fragmented production chain. Finally, we'll analyze their ownership vulnerabilities and discuss what I call the defense budget trap. So let's start with the immediate symptom, Aeralis actually entering administration. The breaking news really hit the industry hard on May 15th, 2026. The board of directors, led by Chairman Robin Southwell, had to make the agonizing decision to call in Buchler Phillips. And it presents a really classic aerospace paradox. The administrators explicitly noted that Aeralis has developed some highly differentiated intellectual property and amazing advanced digital engineering capabilities. So they have genuine, extremely valuable tech. But here's the thing. IP doesn't pay the daily bills. Cash flow reality simply forced the board's hand. Now, they're desperately assessing strategic options to see if the Aeralis program can somehow survive under an entirely different corporate structure. Let's transition to the actual vision they were trying to bring to market, the whole modular industrial concept. To really understand what was lost here, you have to grasp the core technology. Aeralis wasn't just building another jet. They were literally trying to pioneer the modular jet trainer. It's an innovative approach that uses a core, common fuselage. Just imagine a base chassis, right? And you can just plug different wings and engines into it, adapting it into single or twin engine variants. You could use it for basic flight training, step it up for advanced fast jet training, or even arm it for light attack roles. This flexibility was so incredibly promising that Aeralis actually forecast a potential market of up to 500 of these aircraft across the UK, France, and Qatar. When you compare the competitiveness of this modular model against traditional, purpose-built alternatives, the contrast is stark. Traditional platforms require entirely separate, massively expensive production lines and completely distinct supply chains for, say, a basic trainer versus a light attack jet. Aeralis's shared architecture aimed to disrupt that entire model. In the UK specifically, their strategic goal was bold. They wanted to replace both the BAE Systems Hawk T1s and the more advanced T2s with just this one adaptable core system. On paper, it is a beautiful engineering concept designed to save militaries literally billions in long-term maintenance and procurement. But of course, having a great concept isn't enough. Let's look at their marketing pivot, specifically the symbolic value of local jets. You absolutely need a launch customer. Aeralis knew this, so they leaned heavily into domestic symbolism to secure their primary market in the UK. They strategically pivoted their marketing to position their jet as the ultimate British-built replacement for the Royal Air Force's iconic Red Arrows aerobatic display team. The Red Arrows currently fly the aging Hawk T1. And in an April 26 release, Aeralis even cited, and I quote, a clear and unequivocal demand from former Red Arrows pilots that the team's future aircraft simply must be designed and built right there in Britain. It was a really potent mix of national pride and aerospace marketing. But what's really interesting about this is the harsh reality of relying on public sentiment to drive defense procurement. Despite that strong nationalistic angle and the massive push for a natively built Red Arrows jet, an accompanying public petition pretty much failed to gain traction. As of mid-May, the petition had only secured just over 1,200 of the 10,000 votes required to actually force a UK government response. So the emotional appeal was there, but it clearly didn't translate into the massive groundswell of political capital that Aeralis needed to actually force the government's hand on a contract. Now let's shift focus from the conceptual stuff to the physical reality, the operational friction in their fragmented, distributed production chain. Let's move to and see how this builds, because this ambitious design came with a massive logistical hurdle. While Aeralis prided itself on state-of-the-art digital engineering, their physical production chain was incredibly fragmented. Think about the setup. Step 1. You have component manufacturing happening way down south at Hamble Aerostructures in Southampton. Step 2. Those components have to move for systems installation over at Standard Aero and Gosport. And finally, Step 3. All of this needs to be transported all the way up to Scotland to a proposed final assembly factory at Glasgow Prestwick Airport. Coordinating advanced manufacturing across multiple specialized facilities creates immense operational friction. When you're a startup burning cash, the logistical complexity of moving physical aerospace assets across the entire UK is just a staggering undertaking. Okay, let's transition to the shareholder structure to see the financial reality of how their equity influenced their crisis management. If we look at the ownership distribution at the end of 2024, notice how highly concentrated it is. Chief Executive Tristan Crawford holds a massive 46.8% stake. But look at the second largest slice there. 24.9% is held by Barzan Holdings. And this isn't just any investment firm. Barzan Holdings is a state-owned entity of Qatar. This highly concentrated, very specific cap table had profound implications for the company's survival. Think about it. Having nearly a quarter of your defense company backed by foreign state capital creates immediate geopolitical vulnerabilities. When you hit a sudden liquidity crisis and need to raise emergency capital rapidly, a highly concentrated equity structure really limits your options. Furthermore, because Aeralis is so deeply entwined with UK national defense ambitions, having a major Qatari stakeholder restricts strategic flexibility. Geopolitical shifts can instantly freeze funding pipelines. And this directly links back to our very first discussion, where the administrators explicitly pointed to geopolitical factors as a fatal pressure point on their cash flow. And that brings us to the final fatal blow, the defense budget trap in the macro environment. So the crucial point is really captured by mapping out this timeline. It shows exactly how reliance on the public purse can be deadly. In June 2025, the UK Ministry of Defence published its Strategic Defence Review. An accompanying Defense Investment Plan, or DIP, was supposed to follow in autumn 2025. Now, this document was the literal key to unlocking fast jet trainer competitions. But look at where we are. By May 2026, the DIP is still completely unreleased. Everything remains in total limbo. Aeralis was structurally reliant on this exact document to secure contracts and trigger further investment. They were bled dry, simply waiting for government paperwork. The overarching lesson here for any aerospace strategy expert is just incredibly stark. When a private startup's survival depends entirely on the timely release of domestic defense contracts, a simple administrative delay in government paperwork translates directly to immediate industrial collapse. Aeralis had the IP, they had a brilliant modular vision, but they fell into the ultimate defense budget trap. They just didn't have the commercial runway to survive the inherently slow, unpredictable gears of military procurement. I want to leave you with this provocative thought to consider. Does the modular industrial approach remain a sustainable business model under current market pressures? Or is relying entirely on delayed government defense contracts just a guaranteed trap for future aerospace innovators? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me today as we explored this critical industrial breakdown. If you found this explainer valuable, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content right here on Air Flight Space. I'll catch you in the next explainer.